Hello, everyone. I am James Milan. Welcome to to COVID-19 update. I can say that for the last time today, as we will transition officially to town manager updates as of next week. But as always, one thing that will remain consistent is that I'm talking to our town manager, Adam Chapdelaine. So Adam, yeah, we're going to start where we have for so many months now with a COVID-19 update. But as I just mentioned, nice to know that we will be getting on to general town manager business. Although with COVID, I'm sure updates included in those going forward. But this is a really nice little demarcation here that we're, again, that we're getting back, that we're getting past COVID-19.
Agreed. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think we'll have things to talk about in relation to COVID for probably many months to come, but it doesn't necessarily need to be the lead anymore. So yeah, it'll be nice to do this last COVID-19 branded update and then transition to a town manager update from here on out.
Yeah, it feels like, getting back to business as usual, which again, just soon enough we'll be complaining about that, I'm sure, but let's take the moment to enjoy it. So what are, this week's what is this week's update on COVID situation here in town?
So I think I have two main things I would share. First, so residents know the Board of Health and the health staff are still working really hard on vaccination efforts. There's still people in town who haven't been vaccinated yet. Some still in that over 75 age range and some in that 12 to 16 age range. So we're continuing our efforts in that regard. And we'll continue to pay attention to the studies as they come out for when children under the age of 12 become eligible. That's likely not until the fall, but I would imagine we may play some role in that as well. So we'll be staying tuned to that. Additionally, the planning department continues its focus on economic recovery efforts. You've probably seen across town a number of parklets that have been installed over the course of the past month, outdoor dining going in. And though the past few days with the heat haven't necessarily made that all that attractive, as more seasonable weather comes back, getting to get outside, patronize the local businesses, and sit outside seems like a really appealing thing to do. So big thanks to the planning staff for putting the planning effort into that and to the DPW staff for installing it. But I think that actually, that's sort of the direct COVID-19 aspect of today's update. In terms of reopening, with the governor lifting the state of emergency as of June 15th, we are, as we've talked about in weeks past, reopening Town Hall to the public next Tuesday, June 15th. So physically, residents will see a few things if they come from the front of the building, they'll see the newly renovated plaza. There'll be some punch work left to do, but we're basically at 90+% completion of the plaza renovation. Once they get inside, they'll see newly polished and refinished terrazzo floors, the refinished floors in the auditorium, walls painted in some areas of town hall. So we've done our best to stick with the hashtag that Joan Roman has used, getting spiffy for town hall when we reopen. When residents come in to access services, things will mostly be the same, though we do plan on asking people accessing services in the treasurer's office, select board's office, clerk's office, and assessor's office to go into the vestibule or go into the office one at a time. We're not yet planning on putting out stanchions or markings on the floor, but as we ease back into this, we want people to try to exercise respect and try to keep, make one another feel safe. If we're not scientifically keeping one another safe, trying to make people feel safe when they re-enter. And we'll be putting signs up around the exterior of the building, which will say unvaccinated visitors advised to wear a mask. And after some lengthy debate, we decided that was the most appropriate language, as we're not going to be checking vaccination cards. But if you're coming into town hall and you're not vaccinated, we are advising you and would really like you to wear a mask to keep both yourself and other folks in the building safe. And the final thing I'll say on that is, we're asking for people's patience. There will be calibration and recalibration in terms of how office-based services are delivered. But we ask for everybody's patience as they've given us patience over the past 14, 15 months.
Yeah, and clearly depending, as you just said, in terms of the language on the signs, et cetera, depending on both the goodwill and civic mindedness of those who are unvaccinated to go ahead and follow those rules. And for the rest of us, we are leaving many of the vestiges of pandemic living behind. But we're doing that slowly anyway, so I'm sure there will be a certain amount of mask wearing and social distancing happening by all parties as we move forward. But that's clearly great news, and I'm delighted also just to hear that you feel like it's 95%. The plaza is 95% done, and because that's a major project, and one that will just kind of change the look and feel of entering town hall. So that's great. Speaking of major projects, the one of the biggest projects in town underway. Obviously, everybody's aware of what's going on at the high school, but the DPW, Department of Public Works, facilities are undergoing a major renovation, and I guess that is starting in earnest right around now.
Correct. So DPW project about to get underway. We'll be communicating in the weeks ahead with residents about the impacts of that construction on Grove Street and in the general neighborhood. But the most immediate impact is we've moved engineering, inspectional services, and DPW administration to 23 Maple Street, which is right behind Town Hall. Next, I'm pointing as if people can see where I'm pointing behind Town Hall. Next to the
right over
school.
there.
Yeah, right over there. So temporarily for probably the next 18 or so months, those functions will be located not on Grove Street, but at 23 Maple Street. Additionally, parks and natural resources, as well as recycling efforts, have been located to Ryder Street, where it's a property the town owns, for a long time leased to La Licata Landscaping. We've now taken control of that property and are using it also as an interim place for some DPW operations during construction. So that it's exciting. I think we're going to have a big portion of the town between the high school and DPW that is going to be significantly transformed over the course of the next few years, and I think it will be a benefit to not only the DPW and its operations, but to the town as a whole once we get it underway and completed.
Great, and I understand that you also would like to make a little bit of a shout out to a couple of prominent public safety officials in town, and happily, who we've been at ACMi have also been speaking to both our fire chief and our police chief regularly recently, and we've really appreciated their generosity in terms of making the time for us, both presently and going forward. But anyway, I should let you talk.
So what I really wanted to do today was, give a shout out, as you said, to the chiefs, but also to the departments, the fire department and the police department, for some exceptional work over the course of the past few weeks. Excuse me. The fire department, as I think we probably all know, has responded to 3 major fires over the course of the last month, and has done so efficiently, effectively, and professionally. And though there's loss that's associated with those fires, there's been no human life loss or injury. So the fire department's really done a great job and demonstrated the importance of having that 24/7 fire department available. We're lucky with modern construction techniques and building codes that fires are becoming more rare. But when they happen, you need that fire department to respond and to get their job done. And they've done it. They've done it exceptionally well over the past few weeks, and we're very lucky to have them and thankful that the fire department we have in Arlington is so excellent. And then on the police side, people have probably also read this in the news that we had a very difficult, challenging situation in the Mugar Woods last week with a portion of the homeless encampment. And an officer from the APD, along with a social worker from the Somerville Homeless Coalition, were doing their normal outreach visit, and unfortunately became part of a pretty violent confrontation with what ended up being a pellet gun, but looked like an assault weapon being brandished and sort of pointed towards or being brought towards a police officer. But with that officer using his training, his de-escalation training, was able to de-escalate that situation and get the weapon away from the individual without using his weapon. So it's a real testament to the Arlington Police Department's commitment to de-escalation, and individually this officer's great work in putting that training to work and getting out of a very challenging situation without again any human being harmed. So overall, really a banner week for Arlington Public Safety in dispatching their duties in the way that we all hope they will.
Yeah, hopefully our audience is familiar with the fact that ACMi News was there to cover all the stories you just mentioned, and clearly they played out in just the way you've described. And kudos indeed to both departments for being ready and prepared for a number of kind of different scenarios that have just cropped up in the way that they do, and were dispatched, as you have already said, really very, very well. So a nice way for us to end this week's update. And no more awards for town this week.
Well,
We had a slow
we took
week
a
with
week off. We
awards.
took a week off from the awards, I guess.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, thanks very much, Adam, for sharing that, and we look forward to officially taking up the mantle of town manager updates next week. And we look forward to talking to you then. I have been speaking with Town Manager Adam Chapdelaine. This is the final COVID-19 update officially, at least for the moment. And we'll see you next week for a Town Manager update. I'm James Milan. Thanks a lot for joining us.